Welcome to your doom.
What's up, folks? This is Justin.
This is Atul.
And this is another episode of the Welcome to Your Doom show. Welcome. What are we going to talk about today?
A smattering.
What?
A smattering of topics.
What the fuck is a smattering?
Like a little of this, a little of that. It's like a Jackson Pollock of a podcast.
I don't like that description. Now, we were talking about me and a guy at work. I said to him something about a pack of gerbils. And we actually looked up what a group of gerbils would be.
It's called a Richard Gere.
No, it's not. It's just a group. But what would you call a pack of gerbils?
What? Richard Gere? I'd call it a Richard Gere. You know the story about Richard Gere,
I know
right?
about the story.
Yeah.
The rumor, or potentially.
I take it as...
He's got a hamster wheel in there by now.
Cold, hard facts, my friend. That is a cold, hard fact.
Oh, my God.
That man had one or more gerbils.
So you're basically saying that he's like a Gerbil Motel.
Yeah.
They can check in, but they don't check out.
he's like the Hotel California for gerbils. Oh, man.
I'm sorry, Richard Gere.
He's a good actor, though.
He's fantastic, man. He is fantastic.
It's not even him. You know those. You know that character from
Men in Black.
No, but that's also a good one. From Constantine. There's the one demon that's made up of bugs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he's just kind of like in this cloak and hiding. I just picture that's just Richard Gere right now. He's not made up of gerbils. He's just a skin sack, and there's like 1,000 gerbils inside running the show.
I was picturing more like the guys in Men in Black that live inside of the people's faces.
Oh,
so
yeah.
when they're in the morgue, they open up, and then there's just a gerbil inside controlling Richard Gere. Like, the hamster wheel is broke.
No, I'm going with the more disgusting sort of 1,000. He's not even Richard Gere anymore. He's just made up of thousands of gerbils.
I don't think that's more. I don't think that's more disgusting. I think that's less disgusting because it's taking it into like a mythical creature type of territory. That he is this actual type of creature that is just made of a sentient group of gerbils where there's one hive mind.
Listen to what you just said.
Right.
That is the most terrifying thing I've ever heard.
Terrifying, yes.
Sentient. Yeah. Gerbils with hive mind.
Yeah. No, that is scary.
You're scared. You've scared
But what's
me.
more gross is a gerbil crawling up the Richard Gere leg and going in its ass and then crawling all the way up to the face, and that's where the control center is. To me, that's just a little less sanitary.
Do you have a control center in your face? It's
I
already
don't.
there?
I don't. Mine's my brain. It doesn't work so good.
He's just like teabagging his brain the entire time, controlling him.
That's how he gets him to jump. He just teabags his brain.
Anyways.
Well, that took a strange turn.
Yeah. Anyway, so what's a group of gerbils called?
A group.
It's just called a group?
It's just called a group.
I'm glad we talked about Richard Gere because that was really, really anticlimactic.
Well, you know what? I would have tried to think of something funnier, but I think that we went in a good tangent there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. First thing I want to do is jump into some corrections from the last episode.
Lay it on me. What do we got?
So, a few corrections, mostly from me because you guys were running circles around me around the Marvel, a Marvel canon. This is from the Spider-Man Far From Home episode.
I have a correction too. Actually, I noticed when I was editing.
So one of the things is I was mentioning a Marvel. We were talking about where what story Marvel could tell as sort of a joint story next, and I had mentioned a series where there were hammers falling from Asgard, and heroes and villains were picking up the hammers on Earth. And I couldn't remember the name, and that's not really the synopsis of the story, but the what I was referencing was the event series called Fear Itself, written by Matt Fraction. It seems like the critical response to that wasn't so hot. I've always wanted to read it. I've never actually read it. But yeah, there's a Asgardian fear god that's sort of dropping some of these hammers and picking up their own army. And the hammers obviously have a sort of evil bent to them. So anyone who picks it up, I think the Thing picks one up. I think Juggernaut picks one up. So the images I saw were all really great. The art looks really great because all of these crazy cool designs for all of these Marvel heroes that it's sort of, when I look at images like that, I love that kind of stuff because it's kind of the equivalent of like sort of the Green Lantern, Blackest Night thing where the green, like the different colored rings, like the Sinestro ring and and the Avarice, the Orange Ring, and the Green Light, they all deputize a bunch of heroes on Earth. So you get to see a bunch of, like, the Fear Ring, for example. Sinestro's ring duplicates itself and deputizes the one character that can induce great fear, and it finds Scarecrow.
Yeah.
And so, like, I love watching stuff like that because you're kind of merging these two mythologies just to see what it looks like. So this story kind of has that, at least from a visual standpoint. I was reading that people didn't really like it all that much, but I think I might give it a go just because the visuals are so strong. So that's the first one. It's called Fear Itself, which I couldn't muster in the last episode. And I also mentioned the villain in Blade 2. I said Novak.
Isn't that what?
It's Nomak.
I really?
I haven't seen that movie.
It has been a while.
I watched that movie like 100 times, and then I haven't seen it in years. So,
right.
So it's actually, when I was listening to the podcast again, when you were sending me some edits, I heard Novak. I'm like, shit, that doesn't sound right. And so it's Nomak.
No, you're right. Yeah, it's funny when you say it now. I didn't catch it during the podcast at all. I was like, yeah. And then now that you say it, I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, you're right.
Because we all thought that was the name when I said it.
Yeah,
I think it's been a long time since any of us had seen it. So, yeah, those are the two corrections that jumped to mind. Did you have any other ones?
Well, to your first point, Matt Fraction did a run on Hawkeye. That was fucking awesome. Did you read it?
I have it. Shogu bought it. Yeah, she bought it. It's at home.
Yeah, it's him basically
super
against
cool.
the Armenian mob. And, like, some big, like... It's hilarious. There's, like, these tracksuit gangsters that are, like, kicking people out of the building he lives in. So he ends up buying the building, because I can't remember how, but he's got tons of money.
Yeah.
And then there's
so
also
basically Oliver Queen now.
Sort of, yeah, exactly. Except he's just living in a slummy area, kind of.
Yeah.
And but then there's also some stuff going on with, like, the Kingpin and, like, some of the big bosses that run like New York.
Yeah.
So it's just such a great run, and there's a lot of stuff that, like, seems like throwaway content early on in the series that comes back in a big way towards the end.
Is it just one trade? Is it only 6 or 7 issues, or is it like
12.
30?
I think it's 12. I don't think it's 30.
Okay. So I have that sitting on my shelf somewhere.
Give it a read.
I haven't read it yet. The art looks really great too. It's
nice. It's very nice.
Very clean. I can't remember who does that art. It is I can't remember.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I can look it up later.
But yeah, no, Shogu really liked it, so I think I might try and I might take a look at that as well.
Yeah,
so
my buddy Matt's the guy that turned me on to it. I think I was reading it while I was going through Southeast Asia, which was fucking...
Is his last name Fraction?
No.
Okay. It's like, hey man, you should check this book out. It's pretty awesome. Thanks, Matt. Oh, written by you.
He's actually a really good artist too. I'll
Your
talk...
buddy or Matt Fraction?
Matt.
Okay.
I don't know. Sorry, Matt, my buddy.
Okay, your buddy.
I'll talk to him.
We should go by last names now.
I'm not going to throw out his last name yet.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'll ask him if he wants to be featured in the show notes. So if he wants to, I'll throw his Instagram stuff in there. Because he's quite good. He's very good at some of the stuff he does.
Cool. Like, Matt Fraction's a name that you won't soon forget. So I feel like that really does stand out.
No. So yeah, I want to give that a read. The other correction I wanted to say was I was talking a lot about the Eternals and how they impregnate planets, and that's the Celestials. I don't know what the Eternals are. I didn't do the research, and I don't care to. I'll let Marvel tell me what it is. But the Celestials are they were featured in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. They're the ones that had that Power Stone and were destroying planets. Basically, there's like a very small cutscene of them when.
You make it sound like they're going around like date raping planets.
They kind of are.
They're just like the cosmic date rape.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the planets really don't have a say in the matter.
No,
they just kind of show up and they're like, well, you. But at least that, I mean, I don't know if that's in the mainstream comic continuity. This was in the trade Marvels. The one.
I think it's an Elseworld story.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I think so. So I don't
think
know.
Marvels is an Elseworld story.
Yeah, it definitely is. I don't know if that type of behavior is common amongst the Celestials in the main line now.
They ask first in the main line.
I mean, in this day and age, they should.
Yeah.
I guess in any.
Can you imagine a Celestial getting Me Too'd? Anyway, I don't know why.
Anyways,
I don't know why.
What was the other thing I wanted to bring up? So Titans 2, there's a trailer they just dropped a few days ago.
Season 2. Season 2.
Not Titans 2. Titans Season 2.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we went into detail on Titans in general. We kind of speculated about the trailer and stuff.
Yeah.
You ended up liking it. I thought it was kind of throwaway. There were some cool moments.
Yeah, I liked it because, and this is one of those cases where I set my expectations were not high for the show. after seeing that trailer, I just wasn't into it. I wasn't into the whole, the swearing, the violence. Like, I was just like, this is a weird way to go.
Yeah.
Especially with all of the bad press DC films had been getting up until that point.
Yeah.
While I think kind of like ham-fisted in their approach to criticizing the DC movies in general, like saying that, oh, it's too dark and grimdark, and everyone's just like using these buzzwords all the time. I think that's simplifying what the problems are with that DC universe a little bit. But to go and double down on your new show that's supposed to basically launch your streaming service and basically double down on all of that, all of those buzzwords, just seemed like the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
From my perspective, and I just wasn't into it. But I threw it. It showed up on Netflix, so I threw it on, and actually I was entertained. I actually kind of enjoyed it, and I still haven't seen Doom Patrol, and still haven't seen Swamp Thing yet. But those two shows I am 100% in for. I really, really, really want to watch them.
Me too.
There's some interesting stuff with Titans. It's not being dark and gritty just for the purposes of being dark and gritty. I think that Dick Grayson's arc, there is an arc there for a lot of the characters. It's not just like, it is actually an interesting examination, I think. Whereas I think that the examination of Superman and like Batman versus Superman was just kind of like nonsensical, like from my perspective. But this, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like his relationship with Bruce, and the last episode, I really liked the last. I won't ruin it for anyone, but I did like what they did with the last episode and the branching stories and stuff like that. Sorry, not branching stories. I won't even mention it.
Right,
I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, no, I did enjoy it. I wouldn't say it's like an amazing TV show that everybody needs to watch, but I was pleasantly surprised with what they did.
See, my problem was that I couldn't really latch onto any characters that I really appreciated very much. Robin had his cool moments. Everybody kind of had their cool moments. Yeah. Starfire I found kind of annoying a lot of the time. I don't know why. I can't really put my finger on it. I'd have to rewatch it. And keep in mind, this was something I didn't give the full sit down and watch every episode. A lot of it was in passing.
Yeah.
Hawk and Dove,
Dove.
She's gorgeous.
So dreamy. I was super sad with what they did with her character.
Yeah, it could have been done better. But
I might have even done better. I just wanted her in the show more.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why it would have been a better show.
Oh my god, she's definitely a looker.
Yeah, but like I don't know, even like their relationship and the Hawk and Dove relationship just seemed too strained. Like there was. I guess
I actually liked that. I liked how the relationship
was every relationship in this entire show was strained all the time.
Oh yeah.
No one liked anybody.
Yeah.
Ever except for the Doom Patrol. That's it.
And which was a really good episode.
That was the best episode they had, in my opinion. And I think I told you that. There's one episode you have to watch.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything, but the Doom Patrol's in it. Granted, the episode's called Doom Patrol.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
But the most jarring thing in that is the guy that plays the professor, whatever that character's name is.
Yeah, did they recast him?
Yeah, well, I think so.
I don't know.
It's Timothy Dalton now that's playing him in this series.
Yeah, it is. I just don't know if it's the same professor. Maybe they have a reason for doing that.
Maybe.
Like they might have a reason for doing that. But no, I liked Beast Boy. I liked what they did with Raven, because Raven has actually always been like that in the comics. She's always been struggling with like her demonic roots.
Yep.
But I think they've done that in the TV movie that Titans
Go
versus. I think in every show, every incarnation, but Titans versus Justice League.
Yes. Yeah.
The animated movie. Yeah, no, I was just pleasant. You know what I actually really enjoyed? The horror overtones of the show. I think that's why I enjoyed it. Because that show actually has a lot of these horror overtones, especially with the crazy like soldier family, like the family, family unit that's kind of going after them and chasing them down. I'm like, this is great. Like I didn't expect any of that.
No,
they
were cool.
It was super weird,
And you know why we like them? Because they had a dynamic between them. They actually got along in some respect. Nobody else did.
They were. They got along so well that it was dark. It was unsettling.
Yeah, I can see that.
There was kind of like this nuclear 50s commercial American family. That's kind of what it felt like.
Right.
But then they'd go in and just
get along.
Yeah. They'd go in and get along with each other like crazy and gut some people while they're at it. So I think that maybe also added to my enjoyment of the show.
I think the thing that makes me most excited about season 2 is the thing that I keep saying was missing was any type of dynamic or relationship with anybody looks to be there now. You're seeing some smiles. You're seeing everybody kind of working together in some respect. So it looks kind of cool, man. I'm. Did you
see? I can't remember his name, but the actor's playing Bruce. Yeah, looks so good. I think he looks great.
He looks too old.
Oh no, he looks capable. He looks capable, old and capable.
He does not look capable.
He does. He does. You know who doesn't look capable?
Who?
90s Samuel L. Jackson in Captain Marvel. He doesn't look capable, even though he's been de-aged. This man looks his age and looks 10 times more capable than Sam Jackson.
You're going to tell me that Sam Jackson, even de-aged, even not de-aged.
Have you seen... I'd like you to go, I don't know if you go on YouTube or whatever, and just watch a scene from Captain Marvel of Sam Jackson running. He's not even... Like, when he's playing with the cat...
Yeah.
In the movie, and then he goes to get up. I can hear every bone breaking in his body standing up.
Okay.
He's like he's got his hands on his knees. He's squatting, but when he goes to get up, he's really got to push off those knees to get up. It's obvious that an older person, they've slapped on a face onto a really old person.
All you've seen of the guy playing Batman is him walking forward.
But he's on Game of Thrones. And he plays a knight, and he's capable.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd have to see it.
Yeah, so he's definitely capable. He's
just
playing
looks old as dirt.
Yeah. well, that's kind of the idea. You get those people it's like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
He looks much older than he was born with the face he's got right now, basically, right? But he's still able to do a lot of the stunt work from early in his career, and he still looks old.
Which I've got a weird tangent for you. So a little while ago, I watched one of his older movies, so he was younger in it. As soon as I saw him, I'm like, this dude is a spitting image of a young Hugh Jackman. If you look at the two of them, you'll see maybe some similarities.
Oh, really?
Well, on Instagram the other day, Hugh Jackman did the old person filter thing.
He looks like Clint Eastwood.
Identical. Frighteningly so.
Yeah. He just gave his face to some Russian tech team or whatever.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing that. Nah. Guys, don't be doing that. Don't fall for that shit.
Everybody that's listening might have fallen for that, except for maybe my brother, because he won't go into a fad.
No.
He refuses.
I wouldn't either, but my face got submitted. So it really doesn't matter if it's from me or I'm sure someone, sorry Mike, but someone has submitted your face.
I think they probably have.
Yeah, they submitted all over your face. There's nothing you can do about it.
Oh dear.
The Russians got you. But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. But back to the fact that this guy is a dope Bruce Wayne. He looks great. And the reason I'm saying he's physically capable is strictly from what I've seen from Game of Thrones.
Fair enough.
So, I think he's perfectly cast in this role.
I'm gonna get the actor's name, but
the costumes. I don't know if you saw Starfire has a more comic accurate costume. Deathstroke is in it.
Yeah.
Looks and Deathstroke's daughter. Ooh, what's her name? I was about to say Avarice. It's not Ravage. Ravager.
Ravager?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's her name. Ravager is in it. Ian Glenn. Yeah.
Why does he spell it this way? It's Ian.
I don't know.
Ian.
I don't even want to go there.
No.
I'm getting Jimon Hansu vibes from this guy's name. Jamin. I'm just gonna say it how I say it.
Okay.
That's it. I refuse to learn anything. But yeah, no, he looks good. The trailer looks interesting, although it doesn't really hint at how they're gonna handle the cliffhanger ending of the first season
at all. They
just jump right into season 2 stuff.
Yeah,
cool stuff.
Yeah,
here's some cool stuff. So that looks interesting. You know what's even more interesting?
What's that?
Let's talk about Crisis on Infinite Earths, the CW crossover that's coming up. There's a rumor. I don't know if it's been substantiated, but that the Titans from the show, which is from a completely separate DC streaming service, are going to make an appearance on the Crisis on Infinite Earths CW crossover. Really? Which I'm like, this is exactly what this type of crossover is meant for.
Absolutely.
Right? It's meant for that. And I think that would... So I read that story and I immediately watched an episode of The Flash.
Nice.
I'm gonna start the train, this freight train of catching up on the DC, on the CW DC stuff, because all of this is just stuff I love, so I should just be watching it. But so with that story, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and get caught up.
That's cool. I didn't read that. That's pretty incredible.
It's I think it's a rumor, so I don't know if it's if it's 100% true yet or been confirmed, but it would be pretty nifty if it was. But like even more news from that, Kevin Conroy is going to play Old Man Bruce, basically.
Yeah.
Basically his Batman Beyond character. I don't know if it's going to be... So they're bringing all these people in and doing that stuff. Whether they're going to be playing the version of the character that they had played elsewhere is still up in the air. Like Brandon Routh, is he going to be playing Superman Returns Superman?
Or just
I don't know. It doesn't Superman. And frankly, it doesn't really matter.
No,
I'm not super concerned. Although the rumor is that he's going to play Kingdom Come Superman, which I think is amazing, because obviously, I mean, I love Kingdom Come. You love Kingdom Come. I think it's just like that's one of the greatest, I think, mythological stories that we have today. I love that story. Unfortunately, that story is not easily picked up by someone who, if you're just getting started out in comics, I wouldn't recommend Kingdom Come.
No, yeah, you've got to kind of cut your teeth on a few other things, get familiar with more of the characters.
I haven't come up with that list. I think I want to spend some time being like, look, you want to get into comics, and you want to get into superhero comics in particular, because I think that maybe we could do a show about it, because like, if you want to get into superhero comics in particular, like there are certain ones that I would recommend to start out. Like Court of Owls is a really great starting point for some of that stuff for Batman. From the New 52. But if I'm like, I want the road to Kingdom Come. Like, I wonder what that series of books would be. Like, what would you have to know in order to sort of like get the most out of Kingdom Come? Yeah. If somebody jumped into Kingdom Come with just the basic knowledge, maybe the movies, let's say, I think they'd get enough out of it. The main character, especially with Shazam, that's come out now. Yeah. So really, like, I think you're gonna get enough of it. But I think that maybe there's a few trades, maybe 6 or 7 trades. That's 6 issues each. 6 trades that you can read and then get to Kingdom Come and really, really, really enjoy it. Yeah. I think maybe we should come up with that list, like the road to Kingdom Come. Like what would that look like? What books would
even
you
issues?
recommend?
I mean,
like single issues. Yeah, exactly. Because I don't think you need that. You don't need to, the more you're steeped in it, the more you get out of it. That's what's really great about that story. But I think the core mechanics would still work if you just knew the movies. But then in between, I think there's a sweet spot there where you can get like the most out of it with the least amount of like ramp up time.
Right. Yeah.
So
optimize your comic book reading.
Exactly. So anyway, Brandon Routh, Kingdom Come Superman potentially, and Kevin Conroy.
I thought I read Burt Ward too.
Oh yeah, somebody told me that.
Thing.
I didn't like read that. Somebody mentioned that to me.
I thought I read that somewhere too, that he might be involved as well, which is, I mean, it's, I don't know, I just think it's super cool what they're doing. It's a level of paying homage to these older actors that have portrayed these characters, but at the same time bringing them into like the mainstream. It's really cool to see. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm super. Fuck everything else. Kevin Conroy playing Batman in live action just blows my mind. That, to me, they could have nothing else. They could actually take out all of the characters and just have him on the screen drinking tea and talking to Ace, and I would lose my shit.
You think Ace would be it? I think
he's the easiest thing to cast.
But here, and the funny thing is that there's nothing stopping them from doing that. There's no licensing stopping them from doing that, because they can simply do that. Yeah. I don't even know if they have to pay licensing. They don't need to have the suit. They don't need to have like Tim. Oh my God, what's his name?
Drake?
No, sorry. Those are the 2 names I was thinking of, but they are the wrong ones. I'm thinking of the Batman from Batman Beyond.
Tim Friedel? No, it's not. It's Will Friedel.
No. What's the character's name?
Oh my God!
Wow,
Terry McGinnis.
Like, they don't need to have that sort of black suit with the red, the red symbol on it or anything. They can just quite literally just hint at, all of these other things, like the fact that he is a Doberman, right? Yeah. The fact that he has a Doberman, the fact that he's like using the cane or whatever, like stuff like that. So, yeah, no, it's all really exciting. It's very cool. So it's gotten me interested in seriously getting ramped up, because I feel like this is the 7th or 8th time I've mentioned that on this show. So people are getting tired of doing that. Mom, I'm sorry. that you have to hear me say that I'm going to catch up on the CW shows all the time. You're one of our dedicated listeners.
Is she?
Sorry, Mom. Every once in a while, she'll listen and she'll be like,
boy.
Atul, what are you talking about on this show? I'm like,
Why do you swear so much?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
I didn't know Justin had such a foul mouth.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, she really likes Richard Gere.
This is the episode for her.
Yeah, she really likes Richard
Oh,
Gere.
this is the best.
Oh,
I hope she's
Richard.
listening right now.
I'm sorry, Mom.
It's okay. If she really likes Richard Gere, she would have turned it off after the first 3 minutes and been like, fuck these guys. He's not made of gerbils. He's not controlled by gerbils. I swear to God, if you tell me that he jumps one more time when he's teabagged on the brain by a gerbil, I'm never listening to another one of your podcasts again.
Oh my God! Wow. Okay. Moving
What do we
on.
want to talk about?
Moving on. One
Moving
quick thing
on.
I want to mention. Scooby-Doo. Okay. Okay. So on our Halloween list, I mentioned an animated movie called Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
Yeah.
And it's a great animated movie. If you guys haven't seen it, it's really, really great. It's, it was the first wave of really new animation style, feature-length film, well-written, funny, and, things may or may not be what they seem. It's not the standard Scooby-Doo, pull the mask off the guy and it was the butler or it was,
Scooby-Doo's just murdering people in cold blood.
It's not like that, but it's got some surprises and great animation, really great Warner Brothers animation. I saw a trailer from San Diego Comic-Con. For whatever reason, they're releasing a sequel to the movie called Scooby-Doo Returns to Zombie Island. So random, and I watched it. I immediately sent it to Shagu. I'm like, I am so excited about this. This is crazy. Because I keep telling her, I'm like, that and Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghosts, which were two, that first movie was Zombie Island, and then the Witch's Ghost was the second movie. Both of those are really great movies that you can watch with your kids, and sort of introduce them to sort of the Scooby-Doo sort of mythology, but also sort of small, sort of mild horror elements too, so you can enjoy that with your kids. Scooby-Doo Returns to Zombie Island. I have no idea what it's going to be about. Yeah. I saw the trailer, and I'm like, this is great. There's a sequel to this movie, which is amazing. That I've been raving about this movie for so long, and the fact that they made a sequel out of it, I don't know what to expect. I hope they don't mess it up, but if they mess it up, I still have the original to go back to and watch. So that's a random San Diego Comic-Con trailer that we didn't really talk about last time.
Didn't even know it came out.
Yeah.
But I'd be interested in seeing that.
Shut up, you're not interested at all.
Well, the original one at least. This one, I don't know.
I'm squeezed. I don't care if you're into it at all or not. I'm squeezing everything I like onto this show, okay? You keep drinking, sir. Okay. I'm going to jump right into the next thing unless you had something.
Go for it.
Movies. I watched some movies. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I watched 2 days ago.
Why do you want to talk about this? I don't know anything about it.
Nothing. I just wanted to say I watched it. It was good. Go see it.
Okay. I'll go do that and then we can do an episode on it.
Yeah, exactly. You should go see it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino. New Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
Saw it. Liked it. It was okay. I still think...
Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown is his best movie. But this one was entertaining, and I think it has a particularly good performance from Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, fuck. What hasn't he been good in lately? I'm not asking a legitimate question. That's more hypothetical.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, you're right. No, I think DiCaprio is good in the large majority of what he does.
Right.
I think I'm talking about relative to the other folks in that movie. Right. I think that he puts in the best performance, and it was the one that was that stayed with me, and that was sort of effective.
There's been a lot of controversy about Bruce Lee in that movie.
Yeah, have you seen it?
I haven't, so I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. Don't read those headlines.
No.
Don't read any of that
gone
nonsense
because I'm going to read something that's going to spoil something.
Look,
and I don't want to know.
If you guys are narrowing in on that Bruce Lee controversy, it's not a controversy at all. People are just stirring the pot and are just outraged because that's the culture we live in today. So I personally, I can, it's a movie.
Yeah.
It's a fictional movie. Go into it with that, and we'll talk about it after if if and when you go to see it. You know more about Bruce Lee than I do. I don't really know a whole lot about him, so maybe that's why I didn't care as much. I just don't think there's a controversy. Maybe there's a discussion to be had, but I don't think it's a controversy. So
word.
Reign of the Superman. I finally saw it.
About fucking time, buddy.
Yeah, I liked it. And right after I saw it, they announced that they're going to issue a 4K release of the Death of Superman and the Reign of Superman as a single film. Same thing that they did for Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and Part 2. I think I'm going to buy it because I think that was actually quite good.
I liked it quite a bit.
I used to love Steel. When in the 90s when I was collecting comics, this was like the peak of the 90s comic bubble was the Death of Superman. Coming in, the foil covers and like the bagged comics, and you don't open the Death of Superman comic because it'll be worth, like, prospecting of comics was at its dizzying peak during the 90s. So it was a weird time for comics, but during that period, I read all those comics, and I was a huge fan of Steel. I loved the way he looked. I loved the design. I loved the Shaquille O'Neal movie. It was amazing. No, I didn't. It was awful.
That was a bad movie.
It was really bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was really bad.
I remember rewatching scenes of it like in the last 4 or 5 months just on YouTube. It was awful.
It's got his suit is awful.
Yeah.
Everything is awful. But what I can honestly say is that Steel is awesome in this movie.
Yes.
So, and the Eradicator is awesome. He's still got the glasses like a G. What a solid G. That guy is wearing those glasses and he's owning the shit out of them the entire time.
That's his style.
But yeah, no, it's a good movie. It's not as good as Death of Superman, in my opinion, but the Reign of Superman
not enough
is
Batman.
No, he's in it. He's in it briefly. But I was like, if he's in another scene, I'm going to flip my lid. This is a Superman movie. You guys cut that shit out. Because I remember that scene from The Death of Superman where fucking Hawkman smacks Doomsday in the face with like an nth metal mace. Flash picks up that nth metal mace, nails him with it at like hyperspeed. Nothing happens to him. Doomsday's green suit is still on. Batman throws a couple of explosives in his face. The suit starts tearing. I'm like, guys, stop it. Just stop it.
Well, I don't think anybody's chalking that up as a win. Like, he got his suit. It's fine.
But no, dude, there are I feel like there are hardcore Batman fans where they feel like they needed to do that. If Batman's going to be in this movie, he has to do some kind of damage. Right? And that I feel like their hands are tied. Like I that's the only way I can
for these people that exist that I it's hilarious if they do. If they got off because he damaged his clothes a little bit, that's depressing.
Remember we talked, what do we call it, with the slow jerk in the Batman, right? Yeah, that's what we called it during that episode.
Did we?
The Batman slow jerk, right? Because every movie any one of those animated movies he's in, even if he has just a cameo, he has to do something cool.
Oh.
He absolutely has to.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Stephen King slow jerk. That was the slow jerk.
Oh, no, it's the slowest.
He's still jerking.
He's still going. He's still on the upward stroke.
He might go down in the next 20 or 30 minutes, so we'll let you know at the end of the podcast whether Stephen King has started his downward stroke.
But yeah, Reign of Superman, Batman, he's in it, but I don't really remember him, so that means that the other characters really stepped up. So
true enough. Yeah, no, it was I quite enjoyed it. I don't know if we do a full episode on it. But we definitely can. We can do a follow-up episode with Mike too and talk about.
Yeah, because he saw it as well.
Oh
right?
yeah.
And
actually, I'm gonna do
too
one...
long, right?
Yeah, it's too long.
Did he see Crawl?
He hasn't seen Crawl yet.
Okay,
no.
because that's
when it has to go to when it involves going to the theater. He's very turned off about that. Basically, he doesn't want to put in any effort.
Yeah, fair enough.
I might actually try and see that this weekend.
Crawl?
See. Crawl. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
And Scary
Stories.
I'm glad that you
man.
told me it was good. Because I was a little when I heard the PG-13 thing, I was like, it's. If it was announced that it was PG-13 early on, I'd be a little more like, all right, cool, that's the plan. But like when you feel like when I hear about it being PG-13, what felt like a few weeks before the release, kind of makes you nervous.
So one thing to comment on there, this movie was always, it's based on a series of books that were released, I think, in the 80s.
Okay.
Called, the title is exactly the same, but it was a series of folk tales
Neat.
that were
Okay.
combined with this really unsettling art. But it was targeted at kids. These were children's books.
Okay.
And they eventually got banned because the 3 volumes came out and they were eventually banned. You weren't allowed to have them. The kids weren't allowed to read them.
Neat.
I don't know. The documentary just came out for the series of books as well. Really famous. So a lot of people have grown up with these books. I never did. I was more of like potentially a Goosebumps kids. When those Scholastic, do you remember when you get those Scholastic sort of like pamphlets and you could order books and stuff? So this was in that era. So this movie was always designed to be an entry point for you to watch a horror movie with your children.
Right.
So if there were kids that kind of had that horror bent, they were leaning that way. This is a movie that's basically, I read a review somewhere that said it perfectly. I'm going to paraphrase, but it's basically Goosebumps, no gloves. Take the gloves off, Goosebumps, and that's what this movie is. So it's supposed to be targeted at a younger audience, but it's layering on some subtext. It's layering on some really tense moments and great creature design.
Sick. Okay.
So
Good.
it is targeted at younger kids. Always designed to be
Yeah.
PG-13. The entire movie was.
Good.
So
Okay.
was Insidious, and so was a lot of these PG-13 movies. I think people. Short rant. I think people again when they jump on the whole grim dark DC, it's too dark and there are these buzzwords. But then when these PG-13 horror movies were coming out, everyone's like PG-13 is the death of horror. When you release a horror movie and it's not rated R, it's going to be crap. It's like that's not true because
Agreed.
you can design a horror movie to be PG-13. In fact, I think a lot of the PG-13 horror movies are scarier than any R-rated movie I've ever seen. I believe Insidious is PG-13 and I think that movie is a great horror movie, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like I can't think of another movie that has scared me as much as that one during that period of time when I had watched it. So definitely don't let the PG-13 rating scare you because it's designed to be that way.
Got it. Okay. And that's I took some of the idea from your statement that you'd done in a previous podcast that
Right.
if it's designed to be PG-13, that's all good. It's just more the realization that all of a sudden it seemed like they kind of announced
Cut it like they want. Yeah.
The way they announced it, it just seemed like it seemed poorly timed. If I found out 3 months ago that it was going to be PG-13, game on. Especially with Del Toro and Overdahl,
who did oh god. Autopsy of Jane Doe, which we mentioned before, but he also did a movie called Troll Hunter.
Yes.
If you guys haven't seen those movies, go see those. Autopsy of Jane Doe, definitely a rated R movie because it has a lot of I wouldn't say the movie is gory, but it does deal with a cadaver. So
it's pretty graphic. I would say it's graphic, not gory.
Yeah. But still classy. I feel like the movie is extremely classy.
Agreed. It's
And
well shot.
Overdahl carries that style over to this movie. So there's
good.
a lot of atmosphere, and it takes place around Halloween. So I think it's going to become a Halloween staple for me. I'm going to add it to the list. So.
Good. Okay.
So yeah, I don't think it does anything particularly brand new or unique, but it's executed very well, and the creature designs are absolute top notch.
Sweet.
Great. So that's all I'll say about that. I'm going to move on because I could talk about that for days. We talked about Reign of Superman. Some of the books I read, comic called Gideon Falls by Jeff Lemire. I don't know if you know who Jeff Lemire is.
No idea.
He's a Canadian writer.
Okay.
He's written for DC. I'm trying to think of the other. He wrote a book called Lumberjanes and the Underwater Welder. I think he did Justice League Canada for a little while. They had that going on. I believe. I hope I'm not mistaken. But
we have a Justice League.
Yeah. For a period of time, we did. For a period of time. I don't know who's on that team. You should probably look it up. You should look it up.
Single fucking DC character that's born in Canada.
We should look it up.
Whereas Marvel, they got Wolverine right off the bat. And then I think when they did Wolverine Origins, I think he was actually born. The James Howlett character was born somewhere in the U.S. along the border, and then he migrated to Canada, and that's basically where he came up. James Howlett, the original, well, not the original, Wolverine, when he actually was a kid before he lost his memory.
Huh.
Yeah. They had this origin series back. It was back when we were in university. It was a pretty good series. Like, it basically showed, like, this character as a child before he got his mutant powers, and then all of a sudden they manifested, and he had to get the fuck out of Dodge, migrates up to Canada. He's hanging out with this girl called Rose, I want to say her name is, who's very reminiscent of Jean Grey. You know, blood red hair, really, really pretty green eyes. There's another character that looks very much like Sabretooth. It's not. Maybe it is. I don't know. They had sequels to this origin story, but the original origin was actually quite a good story. Huh. I think it was a 6-issue arc. It was good. Couple surprises.
So Justice League Canada is actually not. It's no, Justice League Canada is a book. It is a book. He
I thought you were going to say it's not a thing.
No, it is. It's just the heroes aren't particularly Canadian. They're taking up some. But Jeff Lemire is one of these premier sort of Canadian writers, and he wrote a book of the first volume, which I've read. I just finished reading, which is called Gideon Falls, and it's a horror book. And it's really well drawn, really well written, really great sense of atmosphere and panel design. Okay. I don't know if you remember that moment in the Court of Owls, Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, where Batman drops into this pit, and you actually have to, like, everything's sort of like upside down. Yeah. Like, you have to, like, turn the book upside down to read it, and, like, Greg Capullo just knocked these panels out of the park. They were so good. Adding to sort of the disorientation that Bruce was going through in that scene. They have a lot of those moments here that are like that are designed to evoke the emotions of the people or the event that's happening. Okay. So really, really interesting book. Enjoyed it. Another thing, Color Out of Space, which is written by H.P. Lovecraft. We just talk about this for a second.
Wait. What?
Okay. So there's a story.
Okay.
A short story written by H.P. Lovecraft toward the end of his life, or was published toward the end of his life. Okay. Probably one of the last things he wrote. It's called The Color Out of Space. Okay? It's a short story. The reason that this is important is because I just read this. They are making a movie out of The Color Out of Space. You don't see a lot of H.P. Lovecraft relatively large budget horror films being made. Not a lot. There have been a lot of movies made about H.P. Lovecraft stories, but they've all been, like, lower budget. This one has Nicolas Cage starring as the main character, and it's directed by Richard Stanley. Okay, so we're going to talk about Richard Stanley for a second. Richard Stanley is the first director, and we're going to tie this back to the last episode, and to Cats, of Island of Dr. Moreau. Okay? Richard Stanley was commissioned to direct The Island of Dr. Moreau with Val Kilmer and The Godfather, Marlon Brando. Okay. There is a documentary out about the insanity that ensued on the making of this movie, and I highly recommend it. It's called Lost Souls, the making of The Island of Dr. Moreau, I believe. We can put it in the show notes. But Richard Stanley was fired for going over budget, but subsequently was trying to get back into the production after they hired, I think it's another director, and I can't remember the director's name. But he was basically, at one point, it was rumored, I don't know if it's, I'm pretty sure it's, he dressed up and put on his own makeup to be one of the half-animal, half-person people in the background. So he's an extra in a movie that he was fired from. This guy's a total maniac, and I love it. I love that energy, because if you saw the storyboards of what he was going to do, I'm like, it's not that it was good. It was more like, this is insane. This is insane, the direction he was going to take this. So now he's directing an H.P. Lovecraft story with crazy Nicolas Cage in the lead role.
Oh, boy.
So they released a still from the movie, and it looks super colorful. Color Out of Space, but yeah, I thought it was worth mentioning. If you guys haven't read it, it's actually one of Lovecraft's more accessible stories, because a lot of the stories, the language is very old. Yeah. But it's definitely one of his more accessible stories. So, yeah, I can go on for days. I got one more thing.
What's the other thing?
Adam Wingard, the guy who did The Guest and You're Next, and is finishing up shooting on Godzilla versus King Kong. Yeah. I think he's been hired to direct an Event Horizon series for Amazon.
Oh, I'd seen that. Yeah.
So Event Horizon, you've seen Event Horizon?
I've seen it.
What'd you think? You don't like that movie?
No.
Okay, all right, that's interesting.
I just thought it was gratuitous for no reason. I like Sam Neill.
Oh, buddy, he goes full at the end of that movie.
It was just too much. At a certain point, I was just like, okay, I'm good.
Where we're going, we don't need eyes to see.
You don't need anything to see. It was just, I don't know. It was just, I remember coming out of it and just being like, ugh.
Oh, it was kind of gross.
It was gross.
It was. There's definitely moments of that movie that are gross.
Yeah,
I think that
this is excessive.
The production design on the movie and the atmosphere it builds, I think, is like next to none. I think. Well, sorry, not next to none. That's
second
a lot.
to none.
I wouldn't even say that. Because I think that it's cribbing a lot from Alien. First of all, like in terms of the dread that it builds, but it's up there. Like when I watch that movie today, the sets are just gorgeous, you know. And I think that the performances, there's a lot of good character actors in that movie.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of good stuff in that film. The only problem for me is it just goes too overboard to the point where like I'm not enjoying it anymore. I'm just upset. Yeah,
it gets
there's
full
a
gross.
lot. Yeah, it gets really gross and upsetting and
That's
just
right.
bleak and fucking. It's
gross.
Yeah, it was too much for me.
Yeah.
But there's definitely redeeming qualities. Great performances for sure. Larry Fishburne. I can't remember. Larry.
I think
he was actually going by Larry Fishburne for a good portion of his career.
There's a movie called King of New York with Christopher Walken. If you haven't seen it, Larry Fishburne's in it. He's got a great line in that movie.
I'm pretty sure Larry Fishburne played the character in Pee-wee's Playhouse.
I've never seen Pee-wee's Playhouse.
No?
The Tim Burton Pee-wee movie?
No, I'm talking about the TV show.
Oh, fucking God.
Yeah.
I certainly haven't seen
Yeah,
that
he
show.
was
That
the
used to
genie
scare
in
me.
the fucking box thing.
That show used to terrify me.
Really?
Yeah.
It is definitely like,
it's
if you
weird.
watch that on like acid, you'd be like,
I could never bring myself to watch that show, but I know a lot of people
was bananas.
grew up on the movie, Pee-wee's Big Adventure,
Yeah.
And then Netflix did another movie. I don't know if that was directed by Tim Burton though. I don't think so. But Pee-wee's Big Adventure was.
Yes.
But,
also, I don't know if Larry Fishburne was the character in the box. I don't think he was. That was the genie thing. But he was definitely in it. And
he was
in the show. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. He
interesting.
was.
Interesting. You can see him now in John Wick 3.
You can.
Yeah. I
I
like Lawrence Fishburne.
Me too.
I think that he should be in more movies. I just don't.
Man.
I don't know why he's not. So, but yeah, Event Horizon television series. Sorry, Amazon series. I'd be super into it. I'll watch it when it comes out. The last thing I wanted to talk about.
That's what he was. He was the fucking cowboy.
Oh really?
Yeah, he was the cowboy. I couldn't remember what role he played. But yeah, look at this fucking guy.
Oh man,
isn't that upsetting?
Oh man, look at those teeth. Look at that. Look at that hat.
He should have been this exact same fucking character in John Wick. This is his character. He's a cowboy.
Has he got Jerry curls there?
Yeah,
is
man.
That oh man.
I don't know if they're real.
Yeah,
but,
I think they're coming out of the hat.
They're there. This fucking guy. He looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
I got to take this off my screen. I was going to keep laughing.
All right, I got another thing that's probably going to elicit more conversation.
Let's do this.
Okay, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2 finally. I thought it wasn't as good as the first one.
Yes.
But I kind of enjoyed it. I think it had a pacing problem. There was a lot of talky in that movie, and it was weirdly, oddly paced. Some of the humor didn't hit for me the same way the humor in the first one did. But the one thing that stood out to me in that movie
was Kurt Russell raping planets?
Yeah. Kurt Russell date raping planets was a problem for me. But the other thing that stood out for me was that when there's a moment in the movie, and spoilers for Guardians of the Galaxy 2 if you haven't seen it, but Kurt Russell is Quill's father. But when Quill realizes that Kurt Russell, Ego, had to essentially kill his mother so that he wouldn't fall in love and never leave Earth. Like he would fall in love with her and stay there with her, and his larger mission would be lost.
Right.
So he had to kill her with cancer, basically.
Yes.
He gave her cancer. And as soon as he says, I had to do this, and Peter Quill's like, you killed my mother. And he's like, yes. and he's about to talk again, and half of his face gets blown off with that super cool handgun that he's got that just, varies in power over the course of these movies, but manages to blow half of his face off, and just like, he shoots him like 7 times. I don't know. 6 times. He shot him 6 times. Anyway, he fucking lets this guy, he empties his clip into this guy, okay? Did he deserve 2 to the chest? Probably. Could he have explained himself a little bit more? Probably. But you know what? Quill was like, fuck you, you just admitted to killing my mom, so I'm gonna have at you. Empty the clip.
Well, sir, I think...
So hold on. I'm not done.
I'm
not finished, sir.
Okay.
This led me directly to rewatch Infinity War. Okay? Because I watched this movie and
This
I'm like...
impulsive asshole! He's always been impulsive.
I'm like, this guy just told you he killed your mom. You blew his fucking head off. You emptied your clip into him. Thanos tells you he's killed your girlfriend, and you have what is actually like the equivalent of a 3-year-old tantrum. He with the hands, and just kind of do this, and he starts hitting him in the face.
And let's calm down for a second, because you need to think about this. He's got an ally of his on Thanos' back. He's not unloading a clip without hitting her at least a few times.
Let's talk about that.
Let's do this.
Have you seen the size of Thanos' head?
I have.
Okay.
But she was all over the head.
She was not like cross-armed. She had her hands on his cranium.
And she was sitting on him.
She had her hands
legs wrapped around his head.
Do you understand? This guy has, his head is probably from the top of my head down to my crotch.
Yes.
That's the size of his head.
Yes.
She is perched up at the top.
Yeah.
He is looking into his face, and in the IMAX screen, it's his gun. Or, sorry, I don't think he's pointing his gun at him.
No.
He's not, right?
He doesn't have his gun.
Yeah. So, well, no, he does.
Oh.
He has his gun.
Yeah.
But his head is huge. You know what? I've never shot a gun before, but I guarantee you at that distance, I could shoot Thanos in one of his teeth of my choosing. That's what I could do at that distance.
You could?
You rip it out, you point it at his teeth, and you do the same thing you did to Ego.
But
that
Ego...
movie, like that scene, even when I first saw it, and granted, I like this movie.
Yeah.
In fact, I like this movie better than I like Endgame.
Yes.
But on rewatching it, it's more of these scenes kind of like more of the movie seems movie-ish. Like they've written them for whatever reason they decided to write themselves into this confrontational corner between him and Peter Quill. But having said all that, I can't. Especially with what's happened in the Guardians 2. Doesn't make a lick of sense.
There's nobody sitting behind Ego when he starts shooting, for one. There's nobody around Ego that could deal with any type of ricochet if he's super fucking strong to the point where these bullets aren't going to do anything. Because I don't think his bullets are going to do anything. That being said, his hands are definitely not going to do anything.
Yeah, and what does he still manage to do even when he uses his hands with these calculated strikes you're talking about?
That's
he
the other
hits
thing,
her in the fucking knuckle and she lets go.
And to be honest, think about what you're saying. If he starts shooting her, he's going to hit her knuckle.
No,
and
he's going to shoot her in the teeth. We just talked about this. He's going to point at the teeth.
He goes to the dentist 3 times a lunar cycle of whatever planet it was on. That's 12 times a year on Earth. He has pristine teeth.
You could have shot him in the... His eye is the size of my cheek.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's much stronger. His fucking blast isn't going to do anything. He's just angry, so he's just lashing out. He's not thinking about it.
You are not serious about this. There's no... Like, this scene makes... Guys, look. Guys, when I was watching Infinity War for the first time, having liked it walking out, I still thought that scene was kind of ridiculous. After watching Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I'm like, he just did it. Like, he just did it. You've already proved that he's done this. He's gunned someone down who has taken someone away from him that he loves. So it's like I don't know. No, I don't get it.
What they've proven is that he will lash out when he's super, super emotional. However, the only other thing that Infinity War now proves is that he is considerate of the collateral damage. He is not going to start blasting teeth, eyeballs, or anything that's close to people, because what if his blaster is really, really good and it goes right through Thanos' head? Then it hits Mantis. Then it's a problem. What if it goes in, hits one of his pearly whites, reflects off, goes through Iron Man's head? Then you've got a problem. I'm just saying.
Where would you say they ended up after that scene? Would you say they had a problem after that scene?
I'm pretty sure that if Quill turned around and walked away and didn't talk to him, they would have been in the best situation. Unfortunately, Quill decided to have a conversation with Thanos, which
didn't have a conversation. Have you seen a 3-year-old?
It was a question.
Have you seen a 3-year-old have a tantrum?
Yeah, it was that. No question. But what I'm saying is he had a conversation with him. He shouldn't have asked him about where's Gamora. He should have been like, let's get the fucking stones away from him first, and then I'll start asking questions. Then at that point, he could have started hitting him or doing whatever. But unfortunately, they did it when Mantis was on his head, sitting wherever she was sitting. I honestly thought that she had her legs wrapped around his neck and then was on the fucking head with her hands.
It may have been.
I can't remember.
I gotta watch it again now.
All I know is that there would have been collateral damage. And
her legs could have been wrapped around his neck.
Which,
first of all, her legs wouldn't make it around his neck because he's huge.
But, it might have been like down the shoulders.
Yeah, down the shoulders. Yeah. But look, guys, this scene is ridiculous. That's the bottom line. This scene was ridiculous. And the funny thing about it is, I mean, I wouldn't say it ruins anything, but it stands out to me now that I've seen Guardians 2, because I'm like, he just did what he proved that he would do what he should have done. And I know you're making these excuses for collateral damage.
Hey, no, I think it's a legit excuse, though. He would have fucking killed Mantis if he would have gone all crazy, gun happy, and started shooting people.
He knocked her off anyway.
Yeah, he broke her hand because he was hitting with his hand. That's not shooting somebody. That's not unleashing your blaster at a power that would have done anything. Because listen, if he would have thought about it to the point where I'm going to shoot this guy, he would have probably had to calculate the amount of fucking power that it would have had to do any damage. And then at that point, he's thinking a lot more than he already needs to. He didn't just pull something out and start shooting. Because if he did, he would have killed Mantis. That is my theory, and I stand by it, sir. He would have hurt Mantis. There's no fucking way he wouldn't have.
No, you're wrong.
I don't think so.
You're absolutely wrong.
Dude.
Thanos has taken a beating from the Hulk.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, there's nothing... There is...
Agreed.
I feel like his tongue... He would just eat the bullets. I feel like he probably wouldn't have even killed him or hurt him, but it would have been better than what he had done. If they did a scene where he pulled the gun out and he started shooting at him and he was just kind of taking it in the mouth and in the face, and one of those bullets ricocheted and hit Mantis in the hand and she let go, that would be great. That would be wonderful.
And Mantis would have lost a hand.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's fine.
It's all fine. Okay? It's all fine.
The grand scheme of consistency. The point is that Peter Quill is the type of character that is going to act childish and emotional and lash out. Whether he's doing it with a blaster or whether he's doing it with his hands is completely irrelevant in this situation. Only because
how is that?
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant in this situation because the purpose isn't to show how the exact logical way that the character would have acted with his gun and shooting off, maybe injuring Mantis, maybe not. He would have had to have hurt Mantis in some way for her to let go so Thanos can get away, right? The end goal here is that Thanos is not giving up that Infinity Gauntlet. Now, unless something breaks Mantis's hold, the heroes have won, Infinity War ends, Endgame doesn't make $2 billion or whatever the fuck it's made in worldwide, and that's where we're at. Unfortunately, they need that gauntlet to come off. And Peter Quill acting childish and emotional and acting completely irrationally, I guess you could say, is the way out of that situation. Now, whether it's with a gun or with pistol whipping him, either way, it would have had the exact same effect on Thanos, except the only difference is, one way or the other, one way is going to have Mantis let go and be like, my hand. Yeah, and the other way is going to potentially kill her because of blood loss.
No, we can we can write our way around this.
Oh.
That's why this scene doesn't ruin the movie, right? Because...
But you seem to have a very large problem with it.
I have a problem with it because I saw exactly the same scenario happen in another movie, and he did exactly what I thought, and what I think that the average person thought you would do. Mm-hmm. You killed my mother. Bang, bang, bang.
Yes.
You killed my girlfriend. Bang, bang, bang. Except it's not bang, bang, bang. It's...
Okay. So you're telling me that if Shogu was Mantis...
But Shogu's not... First of all...
I'm just saying...
That's not his Shogu. Shogu's...
Okay,
I mean,
Nisha. If Nisha was Mantis...
Baby, in this scenario, you're dead. I'm sorry. Yes.
If Nisha was Mantis...
Nisha was Mantis. He's like, I just killed your wife.
Yeah.
Shoot him in the face. Hundo P. Listen,
You
Nisha,
savage.
Nisha, you're gonna be fine because I'm gonna shoot him in the mouth. Okay, I'm gonna shoot him in the mouth. He took a punch from the Hulk. He could swallow a couple of bullets. It's not gonna come out the other end.
But that still has the same end result of him hitting him.
Yeah.
It's not going to do any damage to Thanos.
So all joking aside,
yes,
it's really just a scene amendment. You know, like it's more of like I get what they were trying to do.
Look,
it's just funny that another scene played out very similarly to this, and it happened the way but me
it's the
being
same result.
my armchair sort of like I don't make movies nearly as well as these guys do.
Right.
But like, it's just me being like, oh, that's what I wanted him to do to Thanos. But it doesn't ruin the scene because the moment that they're going for is that it's this emotion that disrupts the plan. That's the crux of that scene. Why they felt like they needed to have that particular scene, I could have a discussion about. Maybe they don't need to have that scene.
That's my point.
They just don't need to have it at
Right.
all. But they decided they needed to have it. But that particular execution of that scene was an odd choice.
Yeah.
It was an odd choice. Now, if he started shooting her, she doesn't need to get her hand blasted off.
Right.
It could be burned. Like shards, like whatever.
Sure.
So she lets go, but it just seems like a more... Especially with how they've been fighting for the last 5-6 minutes for that massive scene, it seems like a more accurate. When you understand the power level of the person you're dealing with, if I'm standing in front of a silverback gorilla, I'm not going to try and slap him in the face. If I have a gun in my hand, holstered, I could whip the gun out, point it at someone. Someone happens to be straddling the gorilla from behind for whatever reason, and they're like, don't shoot because you're going to hit me, then maybe I stop, right? But it's this whole thing with the hands where he starts hitting him in the face. It just seems really awkward and odd. It doesn't ruin the movie because that moment's still going to happen. You can but they decided to write themselves into that corner, which I just feel like is an odd place to be.
I do agree. I mean, all joking aside, the Star-Lord hissy fit, as I will call it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, in the grand scheme, there's better ways to handle that situation.
Yeah.
But the way that they wrote themselves into having this big dramatic situation where they almost have the glove off, there's multiple ways they could have written themselves out of that situation. For instance, Thanos just breaks the mind meld. Like, he's fucking
They could
powerful.
do anything. Yeah, they could have done
1,000 different ways they could do it.
But the director wanted that moment.
Exactly. And I think it's a good moment. Credit to Chris Pratt for his performance in this, because when he does realize that Gamora has been killed, his performance there when he realizes his loss and breaks out into the rage that he does, I buy it. I totally buy it. His reaction, maybe, the hissy fit versus starting to blast people, sure, one way or the other, but I get the amount of loss that he feels in that and just lashes out thoughtlessly. That's the thing, is he's close enough to him that he's not when you're that close to somebody, maybe bringing out your gun doesn't make a ton of sense. Maybe because of the amount of people around. There's ways that you can logically go into it and think, okay, this is probably why this character did what he did.
Sure.
So that's kind of where I live on that, because I genuinely do think it was a good moment in the film, and I really like Pratt's performance. Was it the most logical thing? No, definitely not. I'll argue that it was for fun, but I mean, it's silly. I mean, the guy's punching a thing that is he's basically punching a brick wall that's made of fucking titanium that's laced with kryptonite, and then sealed with a little bit more adamantium and vibranium. All of it. All of the elements
vibradamantium.
that don't exist
Yeah.
are in this wall, and he's punching it.
Unobtainium.
That's what's in the center.
So,
yeah,
it's like the caramel center of this, like, of this
You've
makeshift
got to
mineral
through
sandwich.
all of that other shit to get to the unobtainium, in which you'll probably die of some sort of poisoning.
So when you say, just a final comment on this, when you say that you think his performance was believable, that's where I disagree with you.
Really?
Because I don't think his performance was believable because he didn't do what I thought. And this is just me.
Yeah.
Where I was like, he didn't do the thing that I thought someone who was lashing out, really looking to lash out with all of the armaments that were available. He didn't do the thing that I thought someone lashing out would do. And I don't think it's, sorry, so let me refine that. I don't think it's his performance that's not believable. It's his actions that are not believable. And no matter how good that performance is, if that action just seems out of left field, it's gonna not ruin, because it doesn't ruin it. It's more of like, oh, he did that because they needed that. I start thinking about other things. I start thinking about the writing. It was like, oh, they needed that. He couldn't shoot him in the face because then there'd be no movie. So they needed him to hit him in the face and knock Mantis off. Yeah. Right? So like I start thinking about that other stuff because it just doesn't seem like the thing that someone would do if they were really, truly filled with, rage and sadness and looking at the murderer of the one that they loved. Right? So yeah, no, he gave it all in his performance.
Yeah.
It's the action, is what was written for him, I don't think matched that height of emotion.
I'd have to rewatch Guardians 2 to see the full context, but here's the other thing too, is I will say I struggle with anger problems sometimes, and I have lashed out when I've been upset about things. Sure. And it's usually a gut instinct about something that you find out right away, and sometimes you'll throw something or hit something or throw something on the ground. No. And it's not so much about the action of whatever it is you're doing. It's more just the
let it out.
Yeah. There's a slight kind of gratification to it, but there's something there where just lashing out at whatever action is in front of you is just comfortable. I don't know whether there's enough buildup in Guardians 2 to the point where he starts shooting him where it's like, hey, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Or this is what I did, or whatever. Basically, like, I'm not sure if there's enough build up there to the point where he could make a calculated decision. Where in Infinity War, I felt like he says, "Where's Gamora?" and then all of a sudden, he was expecting a better answer, and then he got not the answer he wanted, and that's when the temper tantrum happened.
Right.
Essentially, which is, that's the way I look at it. And to me, like I said, I think it's believable. I don't think it was a calculated decision. I think that he had realized that Ego had been a dick up until a certain point, and he's hearing his monologue.
Ego?
I'm going back to Guardians 2.
Okay.
During that conversation, I think he's realizing slowly that, oh, this guy is not a good guy. This is a problem. And then he finds out about his mother, and he's like, all right, boom.
He's doing the showing him the cosmos and the cosmic plan thing. Okay. Then he reveals that he killed his mother.
But when he's revealing the cosmic plan, he's getting a feel that this guy is not on the level, right?
He's completely like taken over. He's got the crazy black eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when he says that he killed his mother, it pulls him out of it because he's like, "What?"
Okay.
Right. Anyway, yeah,
we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this one.
I think so. I think that this conversation has been had by a lot of nerds across our planet, and I don't think it ruins the movie. So Infinity War, still a good movie. I actually am enjoying it. I haven't actually reached that point in the movie yet. I've been trying to watch it. Like when I was like,
what were the other bad decisions you were troubled by?
The one other bad decision, and again, these are all things I mentioned on the podcast for the review for Infinity War. They were just coming back to me because I'm watching it the second time. Yeah. So it's not like all brand new. The other one was when they freed Doctor Strange and they're like, let's go to Thanos and take the time stone with us. And I'm like, that seems like a monumentally bad idea. There was really nothing to be gained. The way Tony Stark puts it is that we'll catch him by surprise, and we're not. And then I was like, look, kind of the movie shows us what the stones can do. Mm. And I had this problem. I'm putting that in quotes because, again, I did enjoy this movie. But it's funny that none of it, noticing it on the second run, that none of the heroes who possess any of the stones actually use the stones.
Yes.
Which is just like really strange because Doctor Strange has the time stone. So it's like, what can you do with the time stone? And I'm like, what you did with the
him in time.
What you did with the time stone at the end of Doctor Strange could fix this entire problem.
Yes.
Like, it's not. So it's kind of like they've in comics do this, right? When comic books do this, right? When they introduce these things that are like all powerful and they're like can alter this or they can change that. Power levels, the comic, like you think about the cliched comic nerd, what are they talking about? It's like, well, can Wolverine really kill Superman, or can Batman take on Captain America, or can, what if Dracula fought, Bruce Lee or whatever? And I'm bringing that back because that's what Tarantino used as an example for his explanation of the Bruce Lee scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But like, so, and I'm putting on that voice only because it's kind of this cliched thing. The reason that comic book nerds, and me included, and you and I both, we used to talk about this shit all the time. It's like the reason we have those, they're fun. It's fun to have those arguments,
absolutely.
Right? It's so it's kind of like this. It's this thing we always come back to, and it's like whether one person could beat another person, and I don't know. It's kind of like a cornerstone of comic books.
Yeah.
So,
it's a relevant conversation, it's a relevant outcomes of conversations that are fun.
Yeah.
Whether or not anybody agrees on it or whatever the outcome of the discussion means nothing. Yeah. Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
But it's fun to have. I mean, that's half the fun. But I agree in terms of the time stone. There's a lack of using it, and there was always a caution. Like using the time stone in general was a cautionary tale from the very first Doctor Strange.
Sure.
So one could hypothesize that's why they didn't do it. However, they should have fucking used it.
Yeah. So like
just
bringing that thought back to that time stone. It's like, well, when you introduce these elements of like imbalance. You could think of it like a fighting game. Like when Mortal Kombat comes out, Street Fighter comes out. To be a tournament fighter, things have to be balanced. Like, we can't have one character railroading like every other character in the game, right?
Yeah.
So, in this scenario, this movie required that Thanos use the stones in a way that the heroes would never use the stones.
Yeah, but hold on. I'm going to take it back. So, there's a strong reason why Doctor Strange doesn't use the time stone. Yeah, I know exactly why I can argue this, and I don't know that you can rebut it. But basically what happens is he doesn't use the time stone against fucking the Crypt Keeper, because what's the point? You've got Iron Man.
Did you call him, is his name the Crypt Keeper?
Close enough. The guy that floats around on stuff. Big ass head, goes out with the
Crypt Keeper.
Anyways, they kill the Crypt Keeper. He's not worthy of using the time stone. The only one that would be worthy of using, he doesn't YOLO with the time stone.
Sorry.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange does not use the time stone.
Correct. Against the Crypt Keeper.
Correct.
That is too low level of a threat.
Well, no, but he's bound. He can't use it.
Yes, exactly. What I meant was before he was bound and incapacitated. Then after the fact, he's got his time stone with him, right?
Yeah, he's on the... Yeah.
They decided to make the plan to go to the planet. And what's the first thing he does when he's on that planet?
Yeah, he checks
He goes through all of the scenarios. So he's found the one scenario... And that one scenario was give him the time stone. So he probably went over scenarios where he used the time stone to try and stop it, and it didn't work.
Okay.
That's
sure.
That's my argument.
Sure. That's when they get onto the planet.
Yes.
So the decision to go to the planet is still made without any consultation, which seems insane.
Well, there was 3 of them. They're all like, all right, we're down. Let's go.
So,
Let's go to this planet and fuck them up. I got the time stone. It's fine. Hey, do you want to look up what the time stone's going to, use the time stone to look up what we got to do. Hey, how did it turn out? Not good.
Not good. But we're here already and we can't get off
Yeah,
this
it's
planet.
like,
So
I know how this has to play out now.
so don't worry, we got it.
Yeah.
Just not right now.
Yeah. It would have been great if they were floating around in space. They'd just blown the Crypt Keeper out of the ship.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, now what? And then all of a sudden they look over Doctor Strange, he's just fucking in the corner doing this shit.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
He's getting all jittery. He's like, we should probably go home.
Yeah.
But the other thing that occurs to me is that, Vision has the Mind Stone.
Yes.
And I don't even know what the Mind Stone does. They don't demonstrate its power, do they?
Well, they do in the first Avengers. That's what was in the scepter.
Yeah, and then
so you can take over people's minds.
So like it seems odd, like, they have these stones and they're not using it. Again, these things don't ruin the movie.
Yeah.
But there are decisions. I feel like that decision, the Peter Quill's reaction, are equivalent of some of these, like, Ridley Scott's Prometheus, where we make fun of those decisions that they make, like the biologist in Prometheus, like the organic biologist,
the guy with the map that didn't use the map.
No. He's the map maker guy,
yeah.
And he gets lost with the crazy 3D map. He gets lost, which is crazy. The biologist who is scared of an alien cadaver, which doesn't make any sense, but then says hello to a worm that breaks his arm, and it seems like something you shouldn't touch. Like, decisions and what characters do are. I was watching this. I'm like, this is like they went to the school of Prometheus level of decision making.
Incorrect.
No, that's not.
Disagree.
That's not incorrect.
Disagree.
No.
Everybody was
bring the time stone to Thanos. That's dumb. Okay, let's do it.
Well, you're bringing a good weapon over to fight a battle against a guy that you're going to use the weapon against. It's just that you find out when you get there, like, fuck, that's not going to work.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like you have this formidable weapon. It's like, why don't we just check?
And then they do. And then it doesn't. They're like, we can't do that. That was probably the very first rally. He's like, all right, I'm going to use the time stone to go back in time and eliminate Thanos. Cool. Oh, that's okay. Let's go over to the next one because that didn't go. And then all of a sudden, 14 million later, he's like, got it. All right. Here's the time stone, Thanos. I'm out.
No, I thought that was really dumb. And the reaction that Peter Quill has to Thanos is like is the equivalent to the organic organic whatever engineer specialist guy in Prometheus reaching over to the worm and be like, hey, goochie goo, do you want something to eat? And it's like breaking his arm and crawling down his throat. Like that. When I was watching the movie for the first time, I noted these things as being dumb things.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it. When I watched Prometheus for the first time, I'm like, these are dumb things, but I still enjoy this movie.
All right. I will simply concede the Peter Quill to the Dick Monster breaking his arm as being 1-to-1.
Right.
However, there isn't something as stupid as the map guy being like, I'm lost in fucking Avengers anywhere. Nowhere. He had fucking balls that made a 3D map.
Which is a great looking scene in that movie.
Looks great.
So good.
Too bad the fucking map guy couldn't look at it.
It only projects the map back to the ship. He can't see the map. That'd be stupid.
Then why isn't Idris Elba telling him where to go? Being like, all right, you need to go over here. I can't do an Idris Elba.
I don't even think he's English in that movie. I think he's like a southern, like...
I couldn't tell.
Character.
He was too busy fucking
Southern
Charlize
American,
Theron or whatever it was.
I was going to say South American. He's not a South American character. He's an American from the South.
I think you're right. It's
a ridiculous accent.
I actually didn't mind Prometheus aside from those major plot holes.
Yeah.
I thought you were comparing this to the level of stupidity in Covenant.
So there's the Covenant scene where she goes like, hey, I need to take a shower. There's an alien prowling about and he's probably going to dismember us one by one, limb for limb. Yeah, no, I'd put that up with Quill's decision to do that. Bring the stone to Thanos. There are things that are written in these movies to give people what they want to see. And they are written for that purpose. And that's what this is. It doesn't ruin the movie, right? It doesn't ruin it. It just gives you kind of what you want to see, and it gives you more movie. In the end, at some point, you got to kind of be like, hey.
Sir, there's way too much stupidity on display in Covenant to argue that fact. Everybody's dumb in Covenant. Everybody.
Okay, hold on. I got a better comparison on Covenant. Bringing the Time Stone directly to Thanos and not checking anything before you get to the planet and you run the ship into the ground.
But he wasn't there.
What wasn't there?
Thanos wasn't on the planet when they arrived. They beat Thanos to the planet.
No, I understand. What I mean to say is their whole plan was to confront him, right?
Yes.
So to get there and not have a means of escape or not, basically to go to him, whether or not, like, I don't care whether he was there when they landed or not.
Sure.
The point is they decided to go to him and not check before they made that decision. That's the equivalent of Billy Crudup being like, "Oh, well, show me what you got, David." Or not David. What's his name? The other.
Gives a shit
Oh, it is
what his
David.
name is, yeah.
It's David. He's like, well, why don't you follow me and I'll show you what I've been doing in my lab.
Okay.
He's like, hey,
It's
you
not
should
like
look
there's a bunch of horrendous things in your
He's like,
office.
Oh, David, these pictures are pretty horrific. It's like, why don't you follow me into this cave and I'll show you why. It's like, okay, and he goes following down there. He's like, hey, you should look into this egg.
Hey, why don't you put your head in there?
Okay. Yeah. So I think that scene where Billy Crudup's just kind of following him and he's got this like starstruck sort of look on his face where he's like discovering new things and he wants to know more.
Yeah.
Right? I'd sort of make this weird nerd analogy to bring the time stone to Thanos. It's a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea.
It might work out. It might work.
He's probably well overconfident about how the time stone can work. This is the way I look at it. Like, if I was Doctor Strange, I would look at it this way: is the time stone's not something to be trifled with. That's a break glass in case of emergency situation is when you use the time stone.
Yeah, they
right?
land on the planet and he just starts doing his fucking wibbly wobbly.
Say Thanos was already on the planet. They come out of that ship, and I'm not going to say that he shouldn't have done the fucking seizure 14 million thing before. Probably should have.
That's my boss Nass from episode 1.
That's good. He probably should have done that on the ship and not on the planet after he realized Thanos wasn't there, and he's like, I should probably check this out. But he didn't. Bad writing, I guess you could say in that regard. But when he gets to the planet, that's the thing, is if he has enough confidence saying, I'm going to bring the time, I can control time. What's this fucking guy going to do? How bad can Thanos really be? He gets to the planet, he turns back time, no problem. Problem is that he gets to the planet, he's like, he's not here. Well, let me use this to look into the future. He goes, oh fuck, this guy's really bad. Yeah. Shit. This was probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
What he should have done was gone back in time when they made the decision. He's like, guys, no.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the thing is, I mean, if the first Doctor Strange taught us anything is really don't mess with time.
Yeah.
And at that point, he found a scenario where things are going to work out, granted at the expense of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
But he's like, let's just let it roll. This is what we got to do.
Sure. So Matt, another thing that comes to mind. What are we doing for time here?
We're like an hour 20. Just cracked 20.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. I got more to say about it, but we'll wrap it up.
We'll do it on another episode.
Let's close it up. This has been the episode, a smattering episode, if you will.
This is smatter everywhere.
The Jackson Pollock of podcast episodes.
Jesus. Fair enough.
All right, let's sign out. Where can you guys find us, Justin?
We are at anywhere that you get your podcasts, I would hope. If you find a place that you didn't get us, you're probably not listening to this. But if you do, just let me know. Email welcometoyourdoomshow@gmail.com. We are at welcometoyourdoomshow.com. And what's the other one? YouTube. We are at YouTube. youtube.com/welcometoyourdoom. I don't think there's a show at the end of that one.
We're going to have to figure that one out.
I'll double check right now. youtube.com/welcometoyourdoom is not us. Is us. Welcome to your doom. I should edit this.
Yeah.
If there's one thing I edited in this episode, it's going to be this.
Sure.
Or not.
So let's give it another go.
That's a good idea. So you can find us at welcometoyourdoomshow.com. We're at Gmail at welcometoyourdoomshow@gmail.com.
We are at Gmail as well, yeah.
Yeah. That's right. But if you want to check us out on YouTube as well, we are at youtube.com/welcometoyourdoom. So anywhere you're at, rate, subscribe, comment. That's pretty much the gist.
That's it. All right. It's been a pleasure. Till next time.
I still think you're wrong.
This is Atul.
This is Justin. I still think he's wrong.
We'll see you guys next time.
Take care. What is our fucking email? It is welcome to your doom show at gmail.com.
It is.
Yeah. The only one that's not welcome to your doom is fucking the YouTube. Ooh, actually, hold on. Facebook.com.
You know what? You do that stuff at the beginning of the episode on the
Do it at the
thing,
beginning
right?
of the
Yeah,
episode.
so you might just cut that stuff
I'm fine.
out.
No, I'm fine tacking it on at the end. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do that again. All right, and you can find us at. Thank you. I'm trying to remember where you came from before this. What did you say? You said
was at
where
work.
else can you said?
And then I came here.
You can also find us at welcometoyourdoomshow.com. We're at YouTube at youtube.com/welcometoyourdoom. If you're listening to this podcast, we're available wherever you get your podcasts. If you can't find us somewhere, but somehow you're listening to this, just email us at welcometoyourdoomshow@gmail.com and let us know where you can't find us, and I'll make sure that we're on there.
Yeah, and also email all of your hate mail to that Gmail address as well. Because I know you guys disagree with a lot of the shit that I say on this show. Maybe not Justin.
No, I'm
because-
pretty insightful.
Yeah, he's insightful and
Pretty.
you know, and right most of the time. But for me, I know you guys, let your hate out. Send it our way. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to respond to it.
Can I send it?
Yeah. You can create a Gmail account and send me how much you were like, I listened to your
Fuck
Peter.
Atul at gmail.com.
I listened to your episode on Infinity War.
I don't agree with
I
any
don't
of
agree
it.
with any of it. Yeah.
And lastly, we're at facebook.com/welcometoyourdoomshow as well. We just created that. So I'm posting episodes as well as some YouTube content and whatnot. I feel like we should start doing some more like fun content. We have a very squeaky door. Hi, Nish. Anyways, that's the episode. Thank you guys very much for listening, watching, however you're taking this content in.
Preferably not the Richard Gere way. We'll see you guys next time.
Cheers.
Drums.